Hey, it is Larry Sharp here. It is an odd time, a little after 3 p.m. on the East Coast, and I wanted to bring up a short video or live regarding what recently happened with the Supreme Court and the New York State law and the ruling against gun control and what it actually means for New York State and probably for the rest of the country. So, piece number one, which I have to say I am happy that it happened. I'm not shocked that it happened. I had a feeling it would. I'm happy that it happened. It's a good thing. And some people are over exaggerating on how powerful this is. Don't get me wrong. It is a good thing. 100%. It is a good thing. All I'm saying is it isn't as amazing as some of you would think in New York State. What do I mean by that? What it doesn't do, it doesn't say that there cannot be any regulations. It doesn't say that. It'd be better if it did. That's not what they're saying. A state could still have some form of regulations according to this ruling, and New York State, will still have them. And it doesn't talk about where. So in theory, they could still make the gun-free zone thing. So it's not perfect, is what I'm saying. It'd be awesome if it was. It's not. So I want people to be clear about how that's working. New York State is going to go out of its way to try to make things bad. But here, let me tell you, I've been speaking about this for years, literally 5 years. And some of you have been unhappy with me saying, Larry, you only want this or that thing to happen right now. And I'm going to share some. This is from my website that I literally have had on this same gun policy for 5 years. Right? But what does this actually say? The policy, if you can see, if you guys can see it, here's my ways of reducing permit hassles, right? Number one, to turn New York State into a shall issue state, not a may issue state, which is what it should be. In fact, what every state should be, right? And most states, by the way, many of you may not know this, I think over 40 states are shall issue. What does that mean? For those who don't know, that means unless they find some reason to say no, you get your permit. New York State isn't that, which is what this lawsuit's about. New York State will decide if you may get your permit. Now New York State has to move towards a shall issue, which means unless they can find some reason, you get it. That's been my policy for 4 years, to move to this. This is a thing that New York State can move to. And by the way, other states are way ahead of us on this, like way ahead of this. So we can now move to this policy as a nice move in the right direction. I put here the new permit waiting list is no longer than 90 days. Now, for some of you might go, 90 days? In New York State, there's counties where you wait over a year, sometimes over 2 years to get your permit. Now, I know some people are saying that's insane. That's because New York's insane. But that's a fact. Certain states, certain areas in this state, you get it quickly within 30 days, 60 days. And certain areas, it'll take you a year or two and you still get denied. So you pay the fees, you wait a year and a half, and you get denied. That's currently New York State. I want to shift it to just say shall issue. If they cannot find a reason to tell you no, you get it 90 days. This is not crazy for New York. For some states, I know it's crazy. Not for New York. This would be an amazing thing. Second, the system has to give you it if they don't say no, and if they do say no, if they find a reason to say you shouldn't have your gun permit for some reason, they have to give you a reason. I know that sounds crazy, but in New York State now, they don't have to. It's a may issue state. Just go no. They just say no. That's it. In New York State, you should have to give your reason. Why are you saying no to my permit? You must give a reason. And piece number two, you must also give a way and a method to appeal, even if they give you a reason. Now, some of you were upset, Larry, this doesn't go far enough. We can get that now. This is what I've been talking about for 5 years. Let's go here first and then make the next step. And then that's how they do it. Haven't you noticed? They don't take away your guns. They ban this, then they ban this, then they ban that. And it's always common sense. And they inch your way to making everything you have illegal, to making you a felon. That's what they do. So I'm saying reverse it. This is a good idea, a good way of dealing with it. What we should do is what I've been talking about now for 5 years. Now we can do it. Now we can actually do it. We can make things actually work. Just those 3 things. The problem is they're going to try to make it. They're going to try to avoid number 3. And this is the critical issue. New York State now is going to say, okay, we will go to a shall issue. They will have that because they have to now because of the ruling. So New York State will move towards a shall issue state. That part's great, but that's a 3-part. Second part, they're going to say if we don't, they're going to go to a 90-day period or something. New York State already officially is 90 days. They don't follow it. The counties say things like, well, we're too busy, or we don't have we don't have the personnel. They say things like that, and they push it off for 1.5 years. I'm not joking. That happens in New York State. So now they'll have to actually go 90 days, which would be great. That's good. They'll actually follow the law that's already in New York State. That'd be amazing. But what they're going to try to do is not do 2 things, not give a reason, and they're going to try to say, no, there's no appeal process. This is the part that us as New Yorkers, we have to push on number 3. What is the reason? You've got to you can't go, well, I think you're mean or something. No. Did someone get convicted of some crime and they're a danger to their girlfriend or boyfriend? Is that the reason? Okay, that's a reason. Good. We have a reason. Now give me an appeals process to make sure that's real, to make sure that what you're telling me is real. And if it is real, I'm okay. If you're threatening to kill your spouse, your ex-spouse, and you're going to get, okay, that at least can make sense. We can fight on that. But just because I say you're mean? No. So we have to make that happen first. Then we move towards all the rest. Ending the red flag laws, ending all those, right? This is the step we can take now because of the Supreme Court decision. We can make this now that, again, I've been talking about 4 or 5 years. We can finally do this. This is the piece that we were talking about. This is the piece I was talking about 5 years ago that we can now do with the Supreme Court. Remember something, guys. I know some of you are thinking in New York, well, now we can just carry all over the place. Don't do that. You'll go into jail. This is how New York State works. I don't want you in jail. I need you out of jail fighting with me. So please don't go to jail. Still don't come to New York with your gun. You're still going to jail. Remember, this does not say you can't create areas. They did say something like, if I remember right, you can't make Manhattan, you can't make an island and a whole county because an area. But they can still say things like airports or whatever. They can still do that stuff. So this isn't as far as we would hope, but it is closer. So first step, what we got to do is start talking to your local people, all your local Congress, all your local assemblymen, or your local state senators to put the plan I just talked about into action. Those 3 steps. Number 1, the waiting period is 90 days, and that's it as a maximum. If they can do it earlier, awesome. They can do it earlier. I'm not saying you have to wait 90 days. Earlier is better. Again, we have counties, it's 18 months to 2 years. So 90 days is the maximum. If they do not come with an answer to you within 90 days, you get a permit. That's it. If they don't have an answer, it's a yes. It is an assumed yes. It is a shall issue. They have to find a reason to tell you no. If they do tell you no, they must give you the reason. Here is why we think you should not have a gun. Okay, you give me a reason. Now, step 3, you've got to give me an appeals process to show that this is real. You've got to give me a real appeals process to make sure that what you're saying that I'm bad for whatever reason I'm bad is the reality. Once we create this, the next thing will be we're going to fight on the why. Hear me on this. If we set this procedure up first, here's what we set up. Now, what are we going to fight on? The reasons. Because you're too tall, you're too short. I don't know, your name starts with an L. Whatever is the reason they're going to come up with, we will then fight on that. And that's a better place to fight. That's a place where we can win. We can actually list things. Okay, what is the thing? Do you have to be this or that? And either of these things happen, you get the next piece, which is, let's say you decide, hey, if you're a violent felon on parole, you can't have a firearm. I'm making this up as the sake of argument, right? Okay, great. If that's the issue, great. So then when do you come off of that? Is that 1 year, 2 years, 3 months? What is it? This is where we can begin to fight. The assumption is you have a right to have a firearm. Let's stop fighting on that. Let's fight now on what are the reasons they can say no. That's a good battle to have. That's a fight I want to have. If we move towards that, where that becomes a whole different issue, now we can move towards constitutional carry. Now we can move towards all the things that we talk about. You might go, Larry, you don't understand. You need to, people get mad at me. Larry, why don't you just want to give it everything? Literally, there are Republicans and Democrats in DC right now taking away more gun rights. Republicans and Democrats right now taking away gun rights. Right now, Republicans and Democrats doing it. That's why it's a fantasy to go, tomorrow it's gone. That's a fantasy. I want to move the way they move. They didn't just take the guns away. They went. Just like that. We can too. This is a good thing for us. This is the first step. Then we find the reasons why, and we keep moving to where they go, why bother? Eventually we get to, fine. And at least we'll have localism. At a minimum, we'll have localism. I'll take it. If I've got to fight on which reasons they have to deal with in New York, again, in other states, it's not a battle. You guys already passed this. But in New York State, if that's what I'm fighting on, I'll take it. That's a battle I'll happily fight in that one. We're fighting on the idea that we can't even have body armor in New York State. They're talking about banning ammunition in New York State. In New York State right now, some of you don't know, if the gun has a box of ammunition on the same table, so there's a firearm unloaded and a box of ammunition next to it, in New York State, that gun is loaded. You might go, wow, that's stupid. It is stupid. And why does it matter? Because now they can say you are a gun crime felon because you were carrying a loaded weapon. That is what they will do. That's how they incrementally put you in jail. And then because you're a felon with a gun crime, you can never have a gun again legally. That's New York State. That's how we roll in this crazy state. So this is a very good news. We should be happy about this. It's good. Just realize we're still in New York State. So it doesn't go as far as I think many of you would like it to go. I'm with you on this. I'm being realistic on how we can move forward. I'm being realistic on how we take advantage of this. If we try to push too far, they will fight back too much. Let's go right here. We'll push, get to this one, and then push again, and then push again. This is the piece that we can actually make happen. I'm excited about this. I hope you are. And grab a couple of questions and comments. Guys, if you want to support what I'm doing, obviously, like, comment, and share. I say it all the time. I mean it. If you're in New York State and you want to hear this, is important. But more importantly, the 10 laws that New York State literally put into place, 2 weeks ago now? 2 weeks ago, to try to stop gun violence. One of the Democrats who's running for governor said, these aren't going to help gun violence. A Democrat said that. That's how bad these laws are. They're just control laws. These 10 is what the federal government's looking at now. They're looking to copy New York. This is why you should care, even if you don't live in New York. This is the state that destroys your state. So if we fight them here, you don't have to fight them in your state. This is why you should care, and you should share this around. If you want to support me running around, please do so. LarrySharpe.com/donate is always going to help. If you want a cool shirt, LarrySharpe.com/shop. You can get a cool shirt. So yes, that's important. If you want to do that, please do so. Let me grab a couple of comments if I could. So I know some of you are like crazy. Avi says, this is amazing news. Cry some more, Governor Karen. I agree. Good news. I'm just trying to make sure we know where we are on this, Avi. You are correct. This is good news. Let's know where we are, right? Where are we going to be? What we should be doing next? That's the issue. So Liberty Odessa says Hochul's having a meltdown. She doesn't can the permit. Oh yeah. The reality of it is she is still going to try. There's no doubt they're going to appeal or fight or make laws or change the Constitution and do all kind of stuff to try to stop this because they believe it's going to be the wild, wild west. And here is my response to that. If someone says, we don't want to have all these people carrying guns, it'll be the wild, wild west in New York City. It's already the wild, wild west in New York City. This dystopian future you speak of is today. It already is. They're throwing people in front of trains in the subway. They're shooting people in the streets. It already is that. So you don't need to be afraid of it. It's now. So let's forget that entire concept. That's just a fear tactic, right? It's already there. But my point here is, yes, they're going to keep trying. If we push for the three things I just mentioned and we make that happen, now we're good. Joe says, don't blame me. What? I'm sorry. Don't blame me. Hold on. I voted for Larry Sharpe. So my shirt says, don't blame me. I voted for Larry Sharpe. Yes. So don't blame me. I voted for Larry Sharpe. If more of you New Yorkers had voted for Larry Sharpe in 2018, we wouldn't have this problem. We would have been ahead of this. In fact, if you guys had voted for me, if you gun owners had stopped playing with the Republican Party, which is what you were doing, who, by the way, are now up in D.C. right now taking away your gun rights. If you didn't play with the Republican Party and you instead voted for me, there wouldn't have been a lawsuit because I would have never enacted this stuff. There would have been no lawsuit. No need for it. That's how good it would have been. So yes, so don't blame me. I had this as a policy. And hold on. Let me see if I can find it real fast. I got the receipts. Like I have the receipts on where I've been on guns. Hold on. Here we go. This is literally me from 2018 in the debate, the League of Women Voters debate with the Republican in this debate who did not support gun laws.
To Mr. Sharpe.
On guns, under red flag laws in places in other states, family members would bring individuals that they think are mentally unfit to the attention of law enforcement. And then after due process, a judge would either temporarily or permanently take their weapons away. Do you support any version of a so-called red flag law?
Yeah, there is no requirement at all for a red flag law. And the reason why I say it is, you're saying red flag laws now, what they actually do is they force the teachers and or medical personnel to become part of a secret state police where they are required to report on people. When that happens, you have people like veterans particularly who go, I don't want to go get help because I'm going to lose my firearms. You have people who have car accidents and all of a sudden they walk into a room and someone says, how do you feel? They go, oh, I feel so terrible, I want to kill myself. Boom, suicidal, they lose their firearms. You don't have to have a law to tell the cops you think someone in your family is going to hurt themselves or is crazy or whatever you think your family member is. Just tell them. We should encourage that. But once we have a law, we are creating a secret state police. It is hurting my veterans. I have veterans now who will go to their friends and say, here, take my firearms. I don't want to tell anybody else. And what they're saying to the other veteran is, I just put that firearm in my mouth last night and I didn't pull the trigger. That's what we're creating now. No, there's no need for red flag law.
Thank you, Mr. Sharpe.
Use the bully pulpit. If you have a problem, tell your family and friends.
No clapping, please.
Yes.
That was me 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I was saying that. On record. That's in a debate with the Republican who wasn't that strong. So just to be clear, that's what was actually happening. That's been on my website. That's who I've been for 5 years now. So I got the receipts. That's all I'm telling you. So anyway, let me move on if I could. So Tom says gun control laws are racist. Yes, that's why I said, Joe, don't blame me, because I was already here. I was here years ago before the Republicans were even close to this. Now all of a sudden, like, oh, now you got some Republicans going, this should be a shall issue state. Where you been? And not even all of them. Most of them don't even say that. Only one Republican right now is saying that. The rest aren't. So anyway. So, all right. Let's see here. The Great Babe says, finally a two-way win for those of us behind enemy lines. You're like, yes, absolutely. Yes. 100%. Yes. So Keith says, but Larry, you need to stop with all these ideas. Yeah. The ideas I've come up with are the ones that now will be in play. That's the issue. So yes. Joe says 30 days. Quickly. I know, some people get upset about the 90 days that I put out. And there's a reason why I said 90 days. Because in New York, officially, it is 90 days. so I don't have to change a law. If that makes any sense, right? I can leave that law in place and compare. There are some counties, they'll be very fast. That's who they are. That's what they do. They're not affected by this. They'll be fast anyway. But there are several counties that it will, again, as I said, will literally take you over a year, sometimes over 2 years. This will force them to act within 90 days. If we want to shrink it, we can fight on that. Let's shrink it next year or the year after. Let's get them to deal with the current law, which they're ignoring based upon their excuses are always, personnel power. Let's force them to do it. If you don't do it, you get it. So that's why I picked 90. It wasn't random. It's already a New York State law that we can just not have to change and force them to accept it. That's why I picked 90. So that's the reason why. So you understand. It wasn't just a random amount that I picked. So yes. So Sam says it was over 1 year, Monroe. Yes. And many were denied because self-defense and 2A were not valid reasons. Sam, thank you for that. I know there are people outside of New York State watching going, Larry's making that up. No, that's a thing in my state. So you say, I would like a pistol permit for self-defense. And the judge says, no. Just no. I know some of you 2A people like your heads ready to explode. Like, that's the reason for it. Yes. And the judge says, no. And you wait over a year. So you wait over a year and judge says, no. No reason and no appeals process. Imagine if in Monroe County, Sam, he had to act within 90 days, which is our current law. Anyway, by the way, our current law is 90 days. That judge ignores the law, no consequences. Now, if he ignores a law and it goes day 91, you get it. Shall issue. It's yours. You can now purchase your firearm. So if he wants to sit on it and ignore you or be mad at you, he can. Good for him. And at day 91, you're good. That's number one. And two, he can't say self-defense. He's got to say there's a reason why you shouldn't have it, whatever his reason is. And if he gives you a reason, he has to then give you literally an appeals process. I mean, maybe there's some reason why you shouldn't have it. I don't know. Whatever. My point is, if we fight on that, that's the right battle to have. Let's fight on that. So yes. All righty. Frankie says, yes, Larry, exactly this. We can play that game too. Yes. Let's keep moving forward. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. 100%. All right. Let's see. Joe says, what if I just say you want to kill me? Well, again, the judge would have to find a reason why that's not good enough, right? If they have a reason, they have to tell you the reason and you get an appeals process. I don't know why, but anyway, force the judge to find a reason. That's all I'm saying. Force the county to find a reason. And if they begin to find the same BS reason, we then fight on the reasons. And if we fight on the reasons, we're not fighting on shall issue. It's the right Overton window move, if that makes any sense for those of you know what I mean by that. It's the right shift in the state. We're now saying you do have a right. The question is, can I deny you? In New York State, I will take that argument. Good argument to have. We'll fight there. That's what I like that. Shelley asks, should actual gun safety be taught in schools? I think so, 100%. However, as I always say, I want to make sure that each school has its own control over its own school and that there aren't any strings attached from the state or the federal government, that local schools can do what they see fit. And also want to support homeschooling and also support private schools. And if you decide it in your private school or in your home school or in your local school district, all the people around there say, no, guns are evil. Don't teach gun safety. I'm not going to fight you. I think it's a bad idea. But as long as others are able to go to their own schools or private schools to get gun safety, all good, right? And you decide at your local area with no strings attached from the state or the federal government, and you do you. If you're scared and don't want to do it, I think it's a bad idea, but fine. Do it. Absolutely. Yes. So Joe says, I support the too tall ban. Yes, I agree. I agree. Yes. Avi says, sadly, New York State is such a woke theocracy. They will do everything in their power to just invent new rules to stop citizens from pursuing their 2A rights. I think you're right. I agree with you, Avi. That's my point. But we at least can shift the Overton window and fight on the reasons. And that's a better fight. But it's still a fight. This war is not over, right? We won a battle. I'm happy. Let's take advantage of that victory and then keep moving forward. I know some people don't like my idea of incrementalism. I know it. I get teased on it. I get people mad at me about it all the time. I just don't see any other answer in New York State except incrementalism. That's what they've done, and it's worked really well for them. Why can't we use the same tactics? I think it will work. I think it's the right answer, and move forward. So yes, that's my view, and I know some people disagree. Avi says we need to take this government to the UN and charge Governor Karen and her cohorts in the International Criminal Court. Yeah, UN tends to be anti-gun. I mean, the EU is anti-gun. So I'm not sure that's going to work. I think we should vote this guy, Larry Sharpe, for governor. That's what I think. Yes. Joyvin says, also enacted red flag laws here in Florida. Yes. Yes. Here, Joe, Florida Republicans raised the age to purchase a firearm from 18 to 21. Republicans. Guys, stop fooling yourself. Stop fooling yourself. The Republicans talk that talk, but then when it comes to action, they're side by side with Democrats. They talk good. I got to give you, Republicans, when it comes to the Second Amendment, have amazing rhetoric. Their rhetoric's very good. It feels good. It sounds good. Self-determination, sounds amazing. I do love it. Founders, sounds awesome. And then when they get into action, nope. No. So, yeah, get with it, guys. Libertarians are the ones who are getting something done. We're the ones who are getting something done. Absolutely. Dustin says, sometimes pushing freedom too quickly on a society trained and educated to be slaves and cheap can result in problems that might cause a two-step back reaction. True, right? It is, Dustin. It's a very challenging place to be, right? You don't want to be so weak that you don't move forward, but you also don't want to push so far forward that it snaps back. You're right. It's a push, which is why my policy from 5 years ago now, is the right policy in my view. It's the right step that shifts everything, right? That's the issue. Mike says, I need to move out of this state. I feel you, Mike. I'm trying to make it to where we don't do that, right? I'm trying to make it to where you don't need to. That's what I'm trying to do. AJ says, we need you to push hard to be our governor, Larry. We need from us. I got to keep going, guys. If you want to help out, donate, volunteer, I keep going, right? That's the issue. I keep going. So, yeah. Some of you may not know, but again, you know who's trying to keep me off the ballot? It's the Republicans. Why? Democrats don't care about me. Democrats are like, we're going to win. We don't care. And they're probably right. There's only 2 chances for victory in this state. An outsider, and that only outsider running is me, or the Democrats. That's it. And the Republicans will lie to you and tell you they're going to win this year. They're not. That's a lie. Well, we're going to win. No, you're not. It's 3-1 Democrat to Republican in the state. Republicans are not going to. Republicans, I keep saying it. I'll keep saying it till some of you get it. Republicans have not won a statewide election in New York State in 20 years. Nothing. Not senator, not AG, not controller, not governor. Nothing. No statewide election in 20 years, and the state's getting bluer. A Republican is not going to win this upcoming election. Not in New York State. It's not going to happen as a fantasy. They are lying to you. And even if one of them did, what would they do? They would be totally controlled by the Democrats and the Republican Party, because if they get ahead and win, it would be because of the Republican Party anyway, which is taking away our guns right now. So why would you even want that? And it'll be temporary. He'd lose in 4 years before they even impeached him. But a guy like me who wins, I have nothing to lose. If they impeach me, I become even more powerful. The hell do I care? I can't be corrupt yet. You got to give me like 8 years before I have cronies and stuff. And you throw me out. I'm in the term limit, so I'll term limit myself out, or you guys will throw me out by then. And when I can be corrupt, I'll be gone. I can't be corrupt yet. I don't have enough cronies to be corrupt yet. I wish I had enough cronies to be corrupt. I don't have enough, so I can't be. So it's impossible. So the outsider or the Democrat wins. That's it. I'm the outsider. Support me. We can win. If I don't win, if I come in second or third, I still make impact because it blows everyone away that I came in second or third. What happens if the Republican comes in second? Nothing. That's been happening for 20 years. New York State is the way it is because Democrats come in first and Republicans come in second. So there we go. Good. Anyway, I hope that makes sense at least. So yeah. Frankie says, I'm curious to see how this will apply in regards to New York City with the recognized permits for the rest of New York State. What I think is going to happen, Frankie, is how they're going to work this is New York City is going to create a huge chunk of areas they call special areas. And they're going to make it, they're going to say like all schools or public places or whatever. So it basically means you can basically take your firearm to your house and on the street. That's about it. That's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to make it to where they don't say Manhattan is a gun-free zone, but they say almost every place in Manhattan is a government-free zone. Wish it was government-free zone. Is a gun-free zone. I think that's what they're going to try. And then that's great because now we can fight on that battle. That's a good battle to fight. I'm happy to fight on that one. Let's fight on whether a public place is or isn't. Let's fight on whether do you count a theater? Do you count a school? Do you count a church? Let's fight on that. These are good places to fight. We were nowhere near this battle before this decision. Now we can fight the place. Let's fight on that. That's a good place to fight because we begin to win and move and shift to where now it's like, okay, so maybe you can't bring a gun into the courtroom. Okay, yeah, fine. Let's fight on that. That's the place that we want to. That's what we want to be in New York State. Let's get to that level. We're not even there yet. So I think that's how it will work. So yes. Mike says, saw you on Timcast. Interesting. I thought it was. People got mad. Oh my God, people got mad at me on Timcast. They got mad at me. Larry doesn't understand the Second Amendment. Dude, for those of you who got upset, what's wrong with you? It was literally, my words, a theoretical argument to tease Tim. Those were my exact words, more than once. A theoretical argument to tease him. Because he talks about all the time, oh, we should have nuclear weapons, we should have chemical. He talks about that all the time. Now, in New York State, that's a total fantasy. That's why I tease him about it. But anyway, I don't know why people got upset about this. It's silly. I literally said it was theoretical and to tease him. I literally said that. And at the end, I agree with him anyway. I was like, yeah, you're right. So anyway, whatever. If you're mad about that, you got other issues. It's not me. You got issues. Totally not me. So, all right. Shelly says, how far away are the bullets? I always kept guns in one room and ammo in another, and I was the only one who knew where the ammo was. In New York State, I believe the word is in the vicinity. I think that's the phrase. There's a word like that, in the vicinity or in the area. So it's up to judgment of the cop, which is even worse. That's my point, Shelly. I don't know how far. What does that cop think? That's how far. It is, yes, absolutely. So. All right, let's see if I can go here. If I can grab a couple more. Tim says, I had that same shirt. Thank you. I like that. Yes. Kareem, say, Mr. Sharp, I was one of your petitioners and I haven't been paid for your campaign. Guys, I did show you, and I know that some of you are still upset. You guys know that I had a lot of trouble with my vendors who physically weren't giving me paperwork, weren't giving me anything. We're supposed to take care of you and did not. I now have that paperwork I showed you on Sunday. And my volunteer team is working through it. And we will be sending out checks every week, starting, I think, this Friday? Or was it Monday? I forgot. We're sending out checks starting Fridays and Mondays. Every week we'll be sending out checks. So people will be getting made whole to the best of my ability every week. Kareem, I don't know where you are on the list. You might be on the list for this Monday. Maybe it's the Monday after or the Monday after that. I don't know. But money will start coming in. For those of you who want to help me to take care of this, you can go to lpny.org. and donate there. That is the ballot access fund to where the money is coming in to help pay guys like Kareem. So if you want to help me out, please do that. LP, that does not come out of the campaign. That comes out of the LPNY. It's a separate fund. I had the campaign pay because I didn't want the people to be screwed. So I stepped up and I had the campaign pay some of these guys. And some people think it was a bad idea, but I didn't want them to all be screwed over, so I decided to stop paying anyway. So I did that. So, but the money actually comes out of the LPNY's ballot access fund. That's where the money comes from. It doesn't actually come from the campaign. I just decided to help out in that regard. I'm still trying to. So I hope that answers your question, Kareem. So, all right. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see if I can go here again. Kareem says, I love what you're saying. Yes, I'm yes, already saying that 100%. I'm with you. Yes. Let's see if I get another one of these if I can. You guys give me so much. I appreciate it. Shall issue for medical cannabis. Brother, I'm with you. Yes. If it was, I mean, it's a whole different piece, but yes, I'm with you on that. Yes, absolutely. Totally with you. Yes. Yeah. And Joe says, no clapping, please. Yes. Rhetoric says, no clapping, please. They actually didn't want me to clap. People got people clapping for me there. They're like, Larry's right. They didn't want people to see that. So yes, a bunch of people were like, no clapping. Yes. But that actually happened 4 years ago. I appreciate that. Yes. So, Jamie says, Allegheny County, 6 weeks. Oh, Allegheny County, of course. Very good. I love that. I love that. I wish more counties were like that, Jamie. 6 weeks. If they were all 6 weeks, I'll take it. This is not a bad thing. I would deal with that. Let's deal with 6 weeks. Okay. No worries. Jimmy then says, Pennsylvania, 20 minutes. Can we get 6 weeks first, Jamie? I'd love 20 minutes. Let's get 6 weeks first. Let's get to 6 weeks and we're good. Right? Dan says 30 days. Look at that. Let's keep going. I love that. Yes. But you saw Monroe County is over a year. Let's get them all to 6 weeks first. Then we'll go to 30 days. I'm with you. Let's keep going. And then we'll get to 20 minutes. They incrementally do it. So should we. So should we. Absolutely. Let's just keep doing it. Yes. So, Juan says, hey, Juan, luckily for me, I have a very pro-2A sheriff in my county who told me not to put down self-defense and 2A as a reason to get a gun permit. He told me I would automatically get denied if I did. Wow. Look at that. See, guys, if you put down, I have a Second Amendment right. This is some of you guys who are gun nuts get mad at me. You go, Larry, it's constitutional, shall not infringe. Clearly, my state does not care. Clearly, my state does not care. You can yell, shall not infringe all day long. They're infringing. They don't care. They're just going to do. Well, they can't. They are. And right now, except for today with the Supreme Court, nobody was stopping them. Now somebody is. That's a good thing. So now we're good to go. Let's get those three things in so that this is no longer an issue. And that's my point. So that this is no longer an issue. That's what I want. I want it to not be an issue to where if you want one, you can get one. If it's in 90 days, life is good. Once we get all the counties that are under 90, we can change that law from 90 to 30. And we keep moving the ball forward. This is how we fix it. Remember, New York State has the worst gun laws in the entire nation. The worst in the entire nation. If we just pull back in New York, no one can get worse than us. And it's impossible. California can't get worse than us. Can't happen. So as we begin to pull back, everybody can pull back. You guys get that? Gene says, I agree with incrementalism. It gives people a chance to get used to change. I think that's also true. There are a lot of New Yorkers who are just afraid and don't know why. They're just afraid. And I think there's some validity to what you're saying, Gene. We have to get people to not be so afraid. Every time you see a poll in New York State, about 60% or more of New Yorkers say we need more gun control. And it's not because they actually understand it. It's because they're just afraid. That's it. They're only afraid. And they think, well, then gun control, that'll make me less afraid. That's why. The more we have these conversations, the more we do this, the more people will be like, oh, I don't have to be afraid. No, you don't. Not for this. There's other reasons to be afraid, but not for that. Not for that at all. Yes. So, Michael Malice quote from Sam, conservatives are just progressives going the speed limit. I guess that's true. I like that. That's good. That's pretty good. I like that. That's actually funny. Yes. Let's see if I grab a couple more here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Dave says, so if I sent LP in my front back to ballot access fund, that would be okay. Yes, 100%, right? 100%. If you want to, you go to lpny.org. Look at that. That's supposed to donate. Donate right there to the ballot access fund if you want to. The money that goes there will help to pay these guys. I appreciate that. Yes, you can give You can give as much as you like, up to if you want to, up to $47,000 if you want to. I hope all you guys are multimillionaires and you all can afford to give $47,000. That would be amazing. Clearly, every little bit you give would help. $500 would be great, Dave. Whatever you can give. $20 is fine. $10 is fine. Whatever you can give would help. It's lpny.org. That goes directly to the Ballot Access Fund. Yes, that would work. If you send a check to Ballot Access Fund, that would also work too. Yes, both of those work. If you want to send a check, that totally works. Or if you want to click on a website, whatever works is fine. Any of those things would actually work fine. So yes. So, all right. Let's see here. If I can grab any more of these. Jeffrey says, Hochul's going to have some big presser soon to declare how she won't allow this to happen in New York. She's learned. I agree. Again, she is going to fight this. She is. So my point is, follow my 3-point plan. It's the right answer. It'll get people to understand it. It's the right way, and we can move the Overton window, and people won't go crazy. It won't go crazy. Mike says, Nick Miller, wake me when libertarians start pulling more than 1% of the vote. You got to stay with me, Mike, before that happens. You got to be more than that. You got to help me. This is chicken and egg, right? We don't get 1% because people think we can't win. Well, if you think we can win, we get more than 1%. Chicken and egg. Absolutely. Chicken and egg. You have to. 100%. So absolutely. We have to keep going. Look, the reality of this is, to be clear, voting in New York State, and I'm being New York State centric here because I'm running. So that's why it matters to me. Across the country, there are Republicans who do things. Of course, there is. Depends on what state you're in, what county you're in. Locally in New York State, locally Republicans win. There's plenty of Republicans who win locally in New York State. Happens all the time, right? Not an issue. I am talking specifically a statewide election, not locally. I'm talking statewide, and I'm talking this year in New York State. A Republican is not going to win. That's not going to happen in this specific case that I'm talking about, the one I'm running for. That is not going to happen. Anyone who tells you that is either lying or delusional. That is not going to happen. It doesn't matter what happens. Democrats are not going to lose this state to a Republican. No way. No way. And if you've watched Republican debates, which I'll be covering later today, you will see why they're not going to win in New York State. It's not going to happen. Again, 3-1 Democrat Republican. And please don't tell me it's upstate versus downstate. It's not. It's cities versus rural. Buffalo, Syracuse, Rochester, all vote blue. That's how that works. If you can't get somebody who can pull Democrats and Republicans, there is no chance of beating Democrats in this state in a statewide election. That's all I'm saying. So, Mike, if you're a New Yorker and you want to change this, you got to vote. And you got to vote Libertarian. If you vote Libertarian and we pull a big chunk of the vote, I hope we win. I hope we do. If we win a big chunk of the vote, it makes everyone believe we can win. It makes everything I'm saying valuable. It makes, imagine just in this case, I got two people yelling. I got the hemp guy yelling at me, and I got the gun people yelling at me. Okay. I'm with both of you, 100%. Imagine if we had real laws that made this actually work just because we picked up 10, 20, 30% of the vote. And they got scared and said, I need to get these people on my side, not on Larry Sharp's side, so I'll make the changes. That actually happens. You saw it happen with the Conservative Party in other states, not our state. But you also saw it happen with the Green Party. They started to become further left or further right to get rid of the other parties and other groups. That's how they absorb the groups. That is what happens constantly. If you want change, you can't keep doing the same thing. That's the issue. You simply can't keep doing the same thing. Guys, I am trying my best to just keep going. It is difficult, of course, but we don't want to stop. This is a very positive thing I want to share with you all. I'm going to be back on later on today. If you want to help out, please like, comment, and share. It does matter. Let people know what I'm talking about, what we can do in New York State, what we have to do. Head over to LarrySharp.com and see my policies, how we can fix this stuff, particularly for gun rights and gun control. That's an awesome thing to do. And of course, if you want to help out, head over to LarrySharp.com/donate or pick up a shirt, LarrySharp.com/shop. Or if you want to help out the petitioners, get them paid, that would help me tremendously. LPNY.org. Donate to the Ballot Access Fund. That will help tremendously. Every bit you can put in, $10, $5, $100, $1,000, whatever you got. It's all going to help out either way. I will see you all very soon.